This is huge for the Boston Celtics as one of their draft picks that they heavily invested in JD Davidson has absolutely erupted to being a star in the G League as he just recently made the Rising Stars game and won the G League Player of the Month. So we're going to get into all of that, and the newly introduced Miles Norris had his first press conference as well and spoke on his new life in Boston. So we're going to be diving into all of those reports and getting into this exciting news about some young guns on this Boston Celtics team that definitely deserve the respect they deserve. We'll be getting into all of this and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz, and you guys have been absolutely fantastic showing your love and support on the channel, so I really do appreciate all the love you guys have been giving us on this channel. And I want to say welcome to our newest creator as well, Patrick, who I don't know if this video is going to be going out before his or after his, but if you do see Patrick, let him know a big welcome to Celtics Digest and let him know how you're feeling about him on the channel. But without further ado, let's dive in and let's get into this news. Make sure to grab a snack. And this is amazing to see as a Boston Celtics fan, as we see some great things coming in with them bringing in a new two-way player in Miles Norris. And he had his first little introductory stuff that he had to say when coming into Boston. And this is what he had to say on signing with the Celtics, saying he's absolutely excited. He loves the city of Boston, saying he's been here a couple of times. And he's definitely going to have to get used to the cold weather as he's a guy from California. But he is going to be very, very excited to be in Boston. He's got to get used to the cold, like he said, but he loves the people, the coaching staff, and the whole organization. He talked about how he saw Joe Mazzulla as well and was very happy to meet Joe Mazzulla, and also talked about how he found out about getting on the Boston Celtics, where he said he was on the Santa Cruz team and got a text from his agent saying, "Go home, pack your things, and get on the next flight you're going." And he said, "Okay, sounds good." Grabbed some of his stuff, came over onto Boston, and he's very excited to be here. Now, a lot of people kind of dug into Miles Norris a little bit. I know Noah Dalzell of CLNS Media and of You Got Boston had an interview or talked to someone from the Memphis Hustle that knew a little bit more about Miles Norris. So if you want some more in-depth information on Miles Norris, you can definitely check out some other Celtics channels as well. And we'll definitely be getting in on some content revolving around Miles as we get to see him kind of play with this main Celtics team and potentially even with this Boston Celtics team, depending on how Joe Mazzulla wants to utilize him. As we've seen some of these two-way guys like JD Davidson and Drew Peterson get run for the Boston Celtics throughout the season. So I definitely think something like that could definitely happen for Miles Norris. But if not, he could be another, nice bright spot for this main Celtics team, as he was very impressive for the Atlanta Skyhawks and for the main hustle these last two seasons. So let me know your thoughts on Miles Norris, a little bit of a refresher on him. But we also got some great, amazing, great news as well revolving around JD Davidson, as JD Davidson, like I mentioned, has been one of these bright spots for this Boston Celtics team in my eyes, and he's very deserving of all the recognition that he has been given. Now, JD was a late selection by the Boston Celtics just a couple seasons ago, coming out of Alabama, was a little bit of an unpolished piece for the Boston Celtics, but had some update potential, and he's definitely lived up to that potential for this Celtics team, as JD Davidson has been shattering records left and right. We know he's the all-time point leader, all-time steal leader, for all-time assist leader for this main Celtics team, 3 franchise record awards. But not only just that, he hits it on the nail by winning February's Player of the Month with averaging 28.7 points, 7.8 assists, 7 rebounds, and shooting 53% from the field, leading Maine to a great record this season. This month, I believe they went 5-1 in the month of February, which is absolutely great to see from JD Davidson. And he's leading this team right to where they need to be, right into that playoff hunt, as we've seen this main Celtics team, like I mentioned, be in those conversations for the championship last season when they played the OKC Blue, and I do think that they will be able to do that as well this season. So let's look at some clips of JD Davidson that I did grab from the G League that they did post, and let's analyze what JD Davidson has been able to do in those clips for the main Celtics. So here's a little bit of snippet.
Maine's go.
So as you can see in those three clips, you can see JD Davidson scoring in two of them and playing some aggressive defense in the second one. The first clip, if we want to look back at it,
Mains go.
JD backs down his defender pretty confidently into a nice little spin move in the mid-range and then hits a nice turnaround jumper, something JD has been able to do as he creates his own shot. One thing with JD Davidson, which has made him very exceptional in the G League, is for the G League, it's about finding your dominance, finding your kind of groove, finding out what kind of pace of play you need to succeed. And JD Davidson has been able to do that exceptionally for the Celtics team, really running that offense and really finding his rhythm as a shot creator, not only just at the mid-range, but also at the three-point line as well. And if we want to look back at that clip as well,
Mains go.
you can see that JD Davidson is doing this in the clutch. 15 seconds, 17 seconds left in the game. Maine Celtics need to get a big bucket. They're going to JD Davidson, their best player, and he's going to hit that shot guaranteed. Now let's look at the other two clips as well.
Mains go.
So I definitely should have gotten these clips separately, but when you look at those other two clips, the third one where he's scoring offensively, you can see he takes his patience, right? Going up against the Memphis Hustle, ironically too in that clip as well, Miles Norris's old team. He dribbles through his legs, feels very confident, and goes to the rack, falling down and gets that effortless finish at the glass, something that he's always been able to do since college, being a relentless finisher at the basket. And then also defensively, he's been known to be a great defender as a guard coming out of college, but his ability to be a shot blocker and rim deterrent is clear right there when he comes down, slowly chasing down, waiting for the anticipation, and then right as he sees him go up, coming up and getting that slap right out for the Boston Celtics. JD Davidson has those instincts of a type of player that can live up to that hype, and that's where I think that he ultimately does deserve that final roster spot incoming for the rest of the season. Like we've mentioned with JD Davidson, he has been the all-time points, steals, and assist leader for this Maine Celtics squad. He has three of those franchise records, and he's very deserving of those records because he's been on the Maine Celtics his entire career for the Celtics. This is the final season in which JD Davidson is two-way eligible, which means that if JD Davidson were to want to continue to play basketball at in the US at an NBA level, he'd have to get a guaranteed contract. And I do think for the reward of how impactful he has been for the Celtics just this season, but not only just this season, but in seasons previous, even last year and even before that, growing as a player, as we've seen him, like I mentioned, turn into a player that didn't really have much of an offensive game besides scoring at the basket and being a defensive guard, to turning it into a playmaking defensive menace beast, which we knew was in there, with the ability to hit the three-point shot, score from the mid-range, and be an effortless finisher as well. I truly do believe that JD Davidson deserves that final roster spot. He has showcased that he could be that extra offensive scoring punch. And in the minutes that he has played for the Celtics, it hasn't been too great offensively for this team, but I do think that he can pack a punch if he does find a role, and was given some time in, the months of the end of March, early April, when the Celtics don't necessarily need to get wins or losses versus some bad teams. If they were to bring up JD Davidson and have him get that offensive experience just as an extra injury guy, similar to what they did with Neemias Queta last season, I think that'd be great. And then ultimately rewarding JD by keeping him up with this team, I think would also be fantastic going into next season. But who knows, potentially another team next season could give JD that open opportunity after the Celtics do reward him with giving him the final roster spot, if that's the case this year, by giving him an ample playing spot and role. And that would be great for JD as well. But I'm liking what I'm seeing out of JD Davidson. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of Miles Norris. And I'm liking what I'm seeing out of the Celtics team as we kind of gear up for this, final stretch heading into the last month and a half for the regular season, getting ready for the playoffs. I do feel confident in this team. They do have a tough game going against the Trailblazers on Wednesday, so make sure to stay tuned and up to date for everything revolving around this Celtics team. Hit that subscribe button, as we'll be live tomorrow once again before the Celtics game to break down everything Boston Celtics, look at the past week, look at the future week, and answer all of your questions. Once again, I'm Bruce Veliz. I want to say a huge shout out to everyone that tuned into the stream or tuned into the video today. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, and hope to catch you guys in the stream. Peace out and good rest of your day. I'm Bruce Velez. Peace.